Have you ever, been working with ChatGPT or another one of these big AI models, maybe trying to write a story or something creative,
Oh, yeah.
and you just suddenly hit that wall, that very polite uh, digital librarian response?
I'm sorry I cannot generate content of that nature. That
So,
kind of thing. Yeah, we've all been there.
exactly. Well, that whole era, this sort of heavily curated, safe for work AI, it looks like it's fundamentally ending.
Mm.
And the really big news right now isn't just about AI getting smarter or faster. It's this pretty dramatic pivot towards allowing adult content, NSFW stuff.
Right. And that changes the game quite a bit, doesn't it?
It really does. It could change the entire trajectory of this tech.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into, well, the thinking behind this. We're looking at why major players, companies like OpenAI, are starting to signal they'll allow content they specifically call erotica.
Treating adult users like, well, adults.
Supposedly. So our mission today is to unpack why this is happening right now. What's the backstory? There's a surprising history here.
And we also need to look at the immediate risks. Things like deepfakes getting easier to make, privacy traps. What does this actually mean for, the average person using these tools?
Okay, so first, let's set the stage. Historically, these AI companies, they built really clean platforms, right? Very buttoned up.
Definitely. The goal seemed to be getting schools, big companies, even governments to adopt them quickly.
Exactly. And you can't have your chatbot suddenly spouting inappropriate stuff if you want that kind of institutional trust. That's a deal breaker.
So they put up these huge digital guardrails. I like the analogy of bumper rails in a bowling alley.
Yeah, that's a good one. Keep the AI firmly on the straight and narrow, avoiding anything controversial, complex adult themes, hate speech, all of it.
But then Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he recently signaled a pretty major shift.
To pivot, yeah. He basically said the policy is changing. They plan to soon treat adult users like adults.
And the mechanism they're talking about is allowing NSFW chats, specifically focusing on erotica, is the term they use.
Right, and the timeline seems to be possibly starting around December, end of the year. But, and this is the key part, it all hangs on user verification, age gating.
So let's paint a picture. Right now, if you ask an AI like ChatGPT for, say, a passionate story, it'll likely block you or just focus on, the emotional feelings, not the details.
It pulls back, yeah. But the future version, assuming you've verified you're an adult, would potentially just write it, the explicit story you asked for, no filter.
Okay, but I have to push back a bit on the official reason they're giving. The company line seems to be, we've now solved the big safety and mental health risks, so it's safe to open this up.
Yeah, that does sound maybe a little too convenient. Our source material's pretty skeptical about that.
Right. The argument is that this whole safety narrative might just be, a nice-sounding excuse, a PR move to cover what's really a business necessity. They need to compete. They need the market share.
So if this whole safety net relies on age verification working perfectly, how solid is that really? What's the biggest consequence of relying on that?
Well, that's the weak link, isn't it? Age checks are notoriously easy to bypass.
Yeah, kids figure it out. VPNs, fake details, borrowing accounts. It's not foolproof. Verification methods are often easily bypassed. Okay, so we need to talk about something that's kind of the elephant in the room in tech history, or maybe the secret driver.
Which is?
The adult inner tree. It's almost a running joke, but it's true. They often pioneer and push new technologies years, sometimes decades, before they go mainstream.
That pattern is undeniable.
Yeah.
And it's really critical to understanding this AI shift, I think. Remember the VHS versus Betamax war back in the 70s, 80s?
Oh, yeah, the classic format war.
Well, many tech historians argue that the adult film industry choosing VHS was actually a major factor, maybe the key factor, in VHS winning out. It drove VCR adoption into homes.
And it didn't stop there, did it? Think about the early internet, online payments.
Right. Long before Amazon made ordering books online feel normal, adult websites had already figured out how to, securely and privately charge credit cards online. They had to.
They also cracked video streaming way ahead of the curve, perfecting smooth playback when the rest of the web was still clunky. Netflix and YouTube basically built on that groundwork.
It makes sense, though, doesn't it? High demand, big money, but also big risks. So they move fast, they innovate ruthlessly, they care about what works, what makes money, not necessarily about being polite or following the rules.
They build the roads, basically, and then mainstream businesses come along and pave them.
So how does that connect to AI right now?
Well, the interesting thing is These big mainstream AI models like ChatGPT, they're actually falling behind in some ways.
Behind what?
Behind the smaller, often open source, uncontrolled AI tools that tech-savvy users are running on their own computers, like powerful gaming PCs.
Ah, the models with no filters, the so-called jailbroken AIs.
Exactly. People are already getting unfiltered AI experiences, just not from the big companies, and that creates massive competitive pressure.
So Altman and his team, they know this. They see users going elsewhere for these less restricted tools. They have to adapt or they risk losing their dominance.
That's the real stake here. Given this history, what's the ultimate competitive risk if they don't adapt?
Well, it's simple. They risk becoming irrelevant. They could lose the market entirely if they don't provide what users are clearly already seeking out elsewhere.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how even something as complex and, academic as AI development ultimately bends to these pretty primal market demands. You follow the users or you fade away. Hashtag tag MAFNAP mid-roll sponsor read.
Placeholder for sponsor read.
Yeah.
Okay, but opening this door, it's not without consequences. We really have to look at the potential fallout here. It feels a bit like shaking up a bottle of soda.
And then taking the cap off. Yeah, it's probably going to spray everywhere. It's not going to be contained neatly.
So what's the biggest worry? What's the main thing people are pointing to?
I think the number one concern is the deepfake nightmare getting much, much worse.
Explain that.
Right now, the big AI companies have pretty strict rules. They'll refuse to generate, say, inappropriate images of famous people or politicians. But if they relax the rules for explicit text, how long before the pressure builds to relax them for explicit images, too? That's the fear.
And the scary part isn't just fake images of celebrities anymore. It's about normal people.
Exactly. Imagine AI tools becoming so good, so easy to use, that anyone could take a profile picture from social media, a teacher, a student, your neighbor, and instantly create hyper-realistic, fake, potentially career-ruining or deeply embarrassing images of them.
That's a societal earthquake waiting to happen.
Oh.
Just think about scaling that. Scaling the creation of deepfakes to potentially billions of people, billions of requests. The vulnerability is just staggering.
And then there's what the source calls the human nature problem. We just saw this play out with Omegle, right?
The video chat site that just shut down.
Yeah, it was a simple concept, random video chats, but it became unusable. Why? Because according to the founder, it was overwhelmed by users engaging in or demanding terrible behavior.
Yeah.
Bad actors ruined it.
So the fear is, if you give people an unfiltered AI, that will do anything you ask.
A certain percentage of users will immediately push the boundaries into awful territory, asking for violent content, illegal content, hateful stuff, and policing that. Once the main guardrails are down, it becomes incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
And there's one more danger mentioned, which feels a bit more subtle, maybe? The addiction factor.
The perfect partner problem, yeah. AI is getting alarmingly good at mimicking empathy, at being supportive, remembering everything you tell it, never getting tired or angry or, messy.
Like real people are?
Exactly. So what happens long term if people, especially maybe lonely people, start preferring these perfect AI companions over real, complicated, sometimes difficult human relationships?
I still wrestle with prompt drift myself sometimes, like getting the AI to stay on track with what I actually want. It can be frustrating. So I can almost see the appeal of an AI that's just perfectly compliant, always agreeable.
But if that interaction is too perfect, how quickly could that fuel mass behavioral shifts away from real human connection?
It could potentially accelerate the loneliness epidemic we're already seeing. The AI might become too good, too easy. That perfect nature might rapidly accelerate the loneliness epidemic.
So bringing this down to the practical level, this shift changes things for everyday users and especially for parents.
Because that age-gating thing isn't foolproof.
Not even close. We know kids are adept at getting around these things. VPNs, fake birth dates, maybe just using a parent's device that's already logged in.
Right, so you can't just assume that the AI your kid is using for homework is automatically safe anymore. Not if there's an easily accessible adult mode.
Parents really need to be aware. Check the settings on these tools, see if there are new modes, maybe password protect anything that unlocks adult content if the option exists. You have to be proactive now.
Okay, and what about the verification process itself? You mentioned needing to verify your age.
Yes, and this is the critical privacy trap we need to flag. How do they verify age usually?
I guess ID, like a driver's license.
Typically, yes. They often require a photo of your government-issued ID license, passport, and sometimes a live selfie to match it.
Wow. Okay, think about that. You're handing over scans of your most sensitive identity documents
To an AI company.
just to unlock a chat feature.
Yeah.
That feels like a really big ask.
It's a huge risk, especially given how often we hear about massive data breaches. Do you want your passport scan floating around on the dark web because you wanted spicier AI stories?
That's a very good point. So what is the primary personal privacy cost here?
It's giving up highly sensitive government ID data to the tech company, plain and simple.
And beyond privacy, there's this blurring line. You might be chatting with someone, maybe in a context that feels intimate or, spicy.
And you might genuinely not know if it's a real person on the other end with all their flaws and complexities, or if it's an incredibly advanced bot designed to be perfectly engaging.
That's unsettling.
Yeah.
So for you, the listener, what's the bottom line? What's the advice?
Based on the source, it boils down to a few things. First, stay skeptical, especially about images or videos you see online that seem shocking or too perfect. Assume deepfakes are possible and becoming easier.
Okay. Skepticism.
Second, protect your data. Really think twice before you upload that driver's license or passport just to get access to some new feature. Is it worth the risk?
Right. Protect your ID.
And finally, just watch this space. This likely move in December, it's probably just the first step. This is going to keep evolving rapidly. Stay informed. #outro.
So if we try to boil this all down, the big takeaway from our sources today seems pretty clear. The era of AI being inherently safe, curated by default, that's definitively ending.
Yeah, it's a major turning point. And it's crucial to understand it's not really driven by newfound safety breakthroughs or pure altruism.
It's driven by those deep historical patterns in technology adoption, the ones involving the adult industry, and just raw, intense market competition.
Right. Which in turn opens up these significant new risks we talked about. Deepfakes, the potential for emotional addiction, and these really serious data privacy concerns around verification.
So maybe a final thought for people to chew on.
I think the most provocative idea here is how this shift really demonstrates something fundamental about technology development. Even something as sophisticated, as academically rooted as AI, ultimately seems to follow, primal human demand. Market forces.
Rather than being guided solely by intellectual curiosity or, lofty ethical principles, demand wins out.
It often seems to, yeah. It's something to keep in mind as this technology continues to reshape our world.
Definitely something to think about. So stay skeptical out there, protect your identity, and we'll keep tracking how this unfolds. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.